بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا وقائدنا وقدوتنا محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم. ثم أما بعد. Today we are going to continue the topic that we've started, which is the Muslim community and its leadership. And I introduced this topic last week by saying that Islam came to strengthen the ties, not to weaken them. So we have to strengthen our ties with every Muslim. The tie should be stronger with father, mother, brothers, then family relatives. Then it widens. Okay? It widens. So the main focus, the strongest tie should be with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The second tie with Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The third tie with your father and mother. Then after that it goes down, down, down and down. Okay? In general, no desertation of any Muslim. No Muslim is allowed to desert a Muslim. If a Muslim deserts his brother or his sister for 3 days, Allah will not accept their deeds. This is the general principle of belonging to a community. So we have to maintain that and try to strengthen that. And then we mentioned that the class of today is talking about the Jama'ah. Because we say we are Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, right? So the Ahlus Sunnah simply لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ لِمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو اللَّهَ وَالْيَوْمَ الْآخِرِ. You have in the Prophet ﷺ the best example. If you really hope Allah's mercy, لِمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو اللَّهَ وَالْيَوْمَ الْآخِرِ, and success in the hereafter. So if you hope in Allah's mercy and success in the hereafter, you have to follow the best example given to us, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The second part, al-Jama'ah. So what kind of Jama'ah is that? Based on the previous based on last class's lecture, I told you that Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has already defined what is al-Jama'ah. It's the group that practiced Islam based on his teachings. So Prophet ﷺ said, if you are like me and my Jama'ah, my Sahaba, then you will be saved. This is Islam, no philosophy, okay? We're not talking about, riddles or things which are not understood. Every Muslim believes in this, right? Every Muslim. They bear witness that Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. What does it mean? It means he is my example. He is my light, through whom I can find, inshallah, guidance to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Allah told the Prophet, by the way, when we say, Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim, Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim, Allah says in another verse, describing Prophet ﷺ saying, وَإِنَّكَ عَلَى صِرَاطٍ مُسْتَقِيمٍ. Surely, certainly, definitely, you are on a right path. So if Prophet ﷺ is on the right path, and we invite Allah subhanahu, we invoke Allah Azza wa Jal to guide us to the right path, so it is Muhammad ﷺ. In Surah An-Nur, Allah says, وَإِن تُطِيعُوهُ تَهْتَدُوا. Surah An-Nur, the chapter of the society, it describes the Muslim society. If you want to really know about Muslim society, how to behave, how to wear, how to conduct marriage and so on, go to Surah An-Nur. Allah says, وَإِن تُطِيعُوهُ تَهْتَدُوا. If you obey him, you will be surely guided. You will be surely guided. And Allah said him. Him means one, right? So we are recommended to follow one person, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It's okay if you follow the four madhabs. Imam Shafi'i, Imam Ahmad, Imam Malik, Imam Abu Hanifa. It's okay. Because these people have followed Prophet ﷺ, and they made ijtihad, they built their opinions based on their knowledge of the sunnah of Prophet ﷺ. That's why all of them, imagine the four of them, in general, in essence, they said, this is our ijtihad. I'm just summarizing what they say, okay? This is not the exact words. They say, this is our ijtihad. If you find that we are not based on the sunnah, don't follow us. This is in simple. Imam Shafi'i said, if you find me contradicting the sunnah of Prophet ﷺ, you should know that I'm already insane. I lost my mind. Because if you are really, you know, wise, you follow the Prophet ﷺ. That's why these four imams are our imam. A'immatu Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. The imams of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, the four imams. That means our Hanafi brothers are our brothers. No difference, no problem. We share with them the religion. But they follow Islam through Abu Hanifa. We follow Islam on Imam Shafi'i. Muslims in Africa, they follow Islam based on Imam Malik. Understanding, right? That's why we will follow these imams, but at the same time, if I find that there is something which is not based on the sunnah, I will leave it. I will not find any hesitation. Okay? And Islam is easy to grasp. So, with this understanding, you will feel very comfortable with your brothers from Hanafi madhab. You will feel very comfortable with your brothers from Hanbali madhab. You will feel very comfortable with your brothers from the Shafi'i madhab. You will feel very happy with your friends from Maliki madhab. You will be okay. Because we all Ahlus Sunnati wal Jama'ah. Okay, then we spoke about the companions and their methodology, how they are guided, because Islam came through them, right? Prophet ﷺ did not speak to me or you. He spoke to the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. Sahaba radiallahu anhum spoke to their followers, their students, their disciples. Their disciples spoke to their own disciples. So followers after followers, right? So we received Islam generation through generation. We are a linked ummah, a tied ummah. We are tied to Prophet ﷺ. And Prophet ﷺ is tied to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And before him, Isa, Musa. So we are one jama'ah from Adam to the day of judgment. We are all one jama'ah. And we are proud of this jama'ah. It's the only jama'ah that hasn't stopped or perished. It continued, alhamdulillah. You may ask me now, Nasara, Christians, are they tied to Isa? No more. No more tied to Isa. They have different religion. Isa was on the right side, now they are on the left side. Finish. No link. You know why? If you know the history of Isa alayhi salam, you will compare it to the history of Muslims. Deviation. Isa alayhi salam was, you know, run after by the Jews and Romans. And one of the Jews, one of his disciples, betrayed him. And he told the Romans and the Jews that Isa is somewhere, go and take him. So he betrayed Isa. He committed treason. One of the people who used to, you know, to practice such punishments against Isa and his followers is called who? Okay, I forget his name, subhanallah. Okay, so this guy, okay, who claimed that he is the founder of Christianity by saying things which are opposite to Paul. Yeah, Mr. Paul. So Paul is the one who made the first deviation from Christianity. But he was resisted by the Christians, the first Christians. So the first Christians were like us, almost 200 years, imagine? Almost. And the Christians that are like Muslims still remain there for almost 200 years. But what happened? This Paul claimed that he had a daydream. One day they were traveling from Damascus to Palestine. On the way from Damascus to Palestine, they took rest. The caravan stopped at one side, and then he was alone. He sat alone somewhere. Then he came to them saying, "Hey, I had a daydream, and in my daydream, Isa came to me and told me, isn't it enough for you to punish my followers? Now I am the messenger of Isa." Imagine, Isa now is already in heaven, and this guy came and claimed that Isa came to him through daydream and told him that he became his messenger. Isa said alcohol is haram. He said no, alcohol is halal. He told them, Isa told me it is halal. Isa said that pig, khinzir, is haram. No, Paul said no, it's halal. Isa said Allah is one. Paul said no, Allah is three. And they followed him. Imagine, there are some people who followed him, very few. But he was resisted by Barnabas, one of the students of Isa, by some other students like John, they resisted him, they didn't accept. But look at deviation, how it happened. Exactly, Muslims nowadays do the same, do similarly. They follow people, although the teachings of Islam are clear in the Quran and Sunnah, but they like to follow the deviation. Until Christianity now became zero Islam, no more Islam. Isa was Muslim. In the time of Paul, Christianity was still very weak. I mean his followers. Until after 200 years, there was a political clash between the Eastern Church, which is in Arabia, and the Western Church, which was in Turkey. Constantine, the head of Roman Empire in those days, had a problem, very strong problem in his home. Throne should be given to his eldest son. His eldest son was very much loved by his people, by the people of the empire. But his mother already dead. And this Constantine has another wife. She has children. She wanted her child to be the king, to be the emperor. Now, Constantine cannot make it. How can he give the throne to his second son? So he made a trick. He was a pagan, imagine, before that. But Christians in his kingdom were too many, too many people. So what he did, he said, I became Christian. Now Christians now support him and support any opinion he has. So they support him to have his second son as a crown prince. Okay, so from here he began to follow the Pauline Church, which follows Paul's teachings. And they left the Unitarian Church. They left it. And he said, if anyone says that Allah is only one, he will be killed or punished until death from that time. And then they have the Venice Council, where they stipulated laws and they enacted rules saying that Isa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Gabriel are free in one. They began from there, 300 years after the death of Isa alayhi salam. So they began to write it down as laws. So we Muslims shouldn't do that, shouldn't follow our deviation. We should always stick to the teachings of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is the will, the wasiyah, the will of the four imams. Then we spoke about causing split in religion is not allowed in Islam. So if any Muslim caused a split in religion, he will be sinful in the day of judgment. And he will carry the sins of those who were split. And that's why the biggest responsibility is on the ulama, the scholars, the preachers of Islam. Because they should search for the truth and then bring it to people. They shouldn't follow desires and traditions and customs. They should follow only the teachings of Prophet ﷺ. By da'iyas, by preachers, by scholars, researchers of Islam, I'm sure the rest of Muslims will follow. Because Muslims trust people, trust those who teach them, right? If those people had fear from Allah Azza wa Jal, they will not teach and accept the right thing. The Sunnah of Prophet ﷺ, no other one. No, I mentioned a lot of examples in last lecture, but I'm just revising that lecture because I want to make a link between last lecture and the coming today. Okay, so if we want to be united, we should always refer our differences to these three. Can you tell me of any Muslim who doesn't like these three? Do you find the Muslim doesn't like Allah's book? Yes or no? Is there a Muslim who doesn't like Allah's book? No, right? Second one, Sunnah of Prophet ﷺ? No, right? The third one, what the Salaf Salihin, that means the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. Do you find a person who doesn't like Sahaba? I'm talking about general Muslims, okay? So alhamdulillah, these are principles and basic things which all Muslims agree. So we refer our differences to these three sources. Then I'm sure inshallah we'll be united without organization. We will be already united. So this is the reference for the saved sect, the saved Jama'ah, okay? Nasiha. Okay, if you find a person who deviated, give him nasiha. Give him advice. Prophet ﷺ said, ad-deenu nasiha. Islam, the deen is nasiha, is advice. Imagine, Prophet ﷺ summarized all Islam in one word. The deen is nasiha, advice. One word. What does it mean? It means a lot. When you give nasiha, that means you practice it. When you give nasiha, that means you have knowledge about it. When you give nasiha, that means you have the sense of belonging to the community. Nowadays we inherited things from the American films. Oh, none of my business. Oh, this none of my business, this is in the West, not in the Muslim country. In the Muslim country, مَنْ رَأَى مِنْكُمْ مُنْكَرًا فَلْيُغَيِّرْهُ بِيَدِهِ فَإِنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَبِلِسَانِهِ فَإِنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَبِقَلْبِهِ. If any one of you sees a munkar, a falsehood, a sin being used or being committed, he should stop it with his hand. This is the job of the kings, the prime ministers, general of armies, directors of security forces. This is their job. Then he said, and if he sees a munkar and he can't stop it with his hand, at least with his tongue, speak. Haram. This is enough. Fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is not based on the sunnah, in a mild way, of course. Okay? Number 3, Prophet ﷺ said, if you cannot stop it with your hand, if you can't stop it with your tongue, then hate it here. Hate that act with your heart. And he said, and this is the weakest level of iman. So the person who doesn't speak, doesn't stop it with his hand, he will have the weakest iman. Now this is Muslims' stand. Amr bil ma'roof, Nahi al-munkar. Order what's good, stop what's bad. This is the Muslim community. If we belong to this community, then we have to protect the community from deviation. And Prophet ﷺ in one hadith, he said, the likeness of you, my ummah, my community, is like people who are on a ship. And then a hole has happened in that ship. So imagine if they allow that hole to, you know, if they don't stop that hole, then they will all drown, right? They will all drown without exception. The people on the top and the people on the bottom. So they will all drown. That means the community will drown. But imagine if they stopped that hole, they will all rescue themselves, right? And they will be safe. This is the community. We cannot allow deviation. If you allow deviation, our sense of belonging is weak. We should revise our Islam. الدين النصيحة. قلنا لمن يا رسول الله. Advice for whom? He said, imagine, nasiha, advice should be given to Allah, should be given to Prophet ﷺ, should be given to the rulers and ulama, should be given to the general people, to the public. This is Prophet ﷺ, he said this. قُلْنَا لِمَنْ. To whom, O Prophet of Allah, should we give nasiha? He said, to Allah, His Prophet, وَأَئِمَّةَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ, the rulers and ulama. The rulers and ulama. And then وَعَامَّتِهِمْ, the public. Ulama, when explaining this hadith, they said, how can I advise for Allah? That means I follow His commands based on the Quran. How can I give advice to Prophet ﷺ? By sincere following of Prophet ﷺ. Then for ulama and rulers, we give them advice in a mild way, very respectful way, very polite. We have to send messages, okay? If we can meet them, we do, okay? So do every way you can to reach these people. Number 4, by the way, from the advice for A'immat al-Muslimin, for A'immat al-Muslimin, the rulers and scholars of Islam. How can we advise them? If we see something wrong, we inform them, we report to them. By this, you are using your tongue, right? You are using your tongue. This way, you tell them there is a deviation there. If you see a place where Muslims, you know, drink alcohol or whatever, send letters. Your letter will be a witness for you in the day of judgment. You will be saved, inshallah, because you did your job. You told the government about this thing. Now, alhamdulillah, when you come in the day of judgment, oh God, what to do? I have no power, so I sent them a letter. And don't be afraid if you write your name. Write your name. Make it strong report. If you send the report without a name, it will not be valid. Okay? This is if we want to save ourselves. So the nasiha is one of the characteristics of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Okay, now when we cultivate Muslims, we should cultivate them, we should deal with them on clear evidences. I shouldn't come to an evidence which can be understood by 3 opinions or 3 facets or 3 ways. Then I want them only to follow my understanding. That's wrong, haram in Islam. Clear evidence. Only, not based on your understanding, but based on my understanding. If it can accept different opinions, okay, alhamdulillah. Why should I make it a big issue? Okay? And also, we are not asked to test people. Is he from Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah or not? Then I go to him and make test. Do you believe in this? Do you believe in that? Sorry, we are not in exam hall. We are Muslims, we are brothers. You know, treat me based on my surface, on my practice, daily practice. Then you can't judge me through my words, through my daily practice, through my behavior, okay, then you can't judge me then. You can find, but don't test people. It's not allowed in Islam. We have to have good intention in Muslims. Okay, this is the good intention. So, ulama said, good intention should be given to every Muslim. Bad intention should be given to every non-Muslim. Then, I can judge a Muslim, a kafir, a non-Muslim innocent if I find out. I can judge a Muslim not innocent if I find out. So in both cases, I will not judge any person. But inside me, I prefer Muslims to non-Muslims. But in my dealing, I will not judge a person. He is the cause. He is the cause of the problem. If you do that, this is a deviation. Why? Because of prejudice. In the time of Prophet ﷺ, someone stole a sack of wheat, of flour, okay? Then he was very clever. The flour was leaking. He made it leaking. From the store of the owner of that flour to the house of the Jew, the flour was leaking. So it drew a line from the store to the house of the Jew. Then there it stopped. At the door of the Jew, it stopped. After that, the trace of flour disappeared. When they came in the morning, the owner of the flour followed what? The trace. He stopped where? At the gate or at the door of the Jew's house. Of course, now they went to the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ said, this is evidence. So the Jew is accused. Hey Jew, you must give him his flour back. I did not take it. Now, Prophet ﷺ has based his judgment on evidence, right? This is an evidence. If you are in Prophet ﷺ's place, will you say otherwise? This is the only way. The stealer is the Jew. Why? Because the trace of the flour stopped at his door. Finish. Now the Jew is accused of stealing. And the true stealer, who is Muslim, disappeared. Who will interfere here? No power except Allah's power. Because He is the one who knows the unseen. Imagine more than 10 ayahs in Surah An-Nisa supporting the Jew and, saying that the Jew is innocent and threatening the Prophet ﷺ and Muslims. And that's in Surah An-Nisa. So it doesn't mean that we hate Jews, we practice injustice to them. And it doesn't mean we love Muslims and that we practice injustice to them. We have to be just to both Muslims and non-Muslims. Our love will not push us to be prejudiced. Our hate will not make us biased. So in both cases we have to maintain our logic, our intellect, and we base our judgment on evidences. Because of Allah's interference, the Jew was acquitted, okay? Was exonerated, freed. He is free. Because of Allah's interference. But if Allah doesn't interfere, then the Jew will be taken accused, okay? And Prophet ﷺ is justified. He based his judgment on evidences, like he said in another hadith. Okay, so we have to have good intention in Muslims, in general. Okay, and Prophet ﷺ said, try to find even the minimum justifications. Try to find 70% of justifications for your Muslim's mistake, for your Muslims brothers' mistake. Imagine the Prophet ﷺ said, at least 70 justifications. Do we find 70 justifications? Once our friend or brother makes a mistake, we straight away begin to attack and abuse and use bad words, and then we boycott each other, and we didn't even try to find one justification, even one. Prophet said even 70. Now today's class. Now, okay, this is the community in general. If we have Muslim sects and we have pseudo-Muslim sects. Pseudo means fake, okay? Not true Muslim sects. How can we deal with both of them? How can we judge both of them? Number one, I told you in one hadith that Prophet ﷺ said, my ummah will be split into 73 sects. Those 73 sects, most of them are still Muslims. Are still what? Muslims. Few of them have become pseudo-Muslims, fake Muslims. Okay? So, some people misunderstand this hadith. They say, oh, these people who claim that they are Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, they are very extreme. They divide Muslims into 73, then that they claim that they're the only sect who is saved. We tell them, sorry for your misunderstanding. We feel sorry for you. It doesn't mean that they will go to hellfire and reside there forever. It doesn't mean that. It means they committed sins, but these sins, based on what we studied, you still remember in one of the classes we said a sinning Muslim can be under Allah's will. Maybe He can forgive him from the outset, go to Jannah, no punishment. Maybe He punishes him, right? Allah is free, we cannot interfere. But we say is they are under Allah's will, either to forgive them or punish them according to their sins. You still remember this? And do you still remember the ayah? It's very important to remember 2 ayahs in Surah An-Nisa. 2 ayahs with the same wording, same words. Inna Allah la yaghfiru an yushraka bih. Allah doesn't forgive associating others to Him. But He forgives all other sins for whom He wants. This is 2 ayahs with the same wording in Surah An-Nisa. This is the basis of what I mentioned last class. So these groups, most of them are under this ayah. Are under what? This ayah. If they have problems in belief, deviation in belief, in Islamic aqidah, then this aqidah, it depends. Because we have pseudo, we have sects which are not Muslims anymore. They turned away from Islam. But most of them, most of the 73 are Muslims. Okay? And they will be under Allah's threat. He may forgive them from the outset, or He may punish them according to the sin. Okay, Muslim sects departing from the fold of the Sunnah. We have two things: fold of Sunnah and fold of Islam. If you depart from the fold of Sunnah, then the person is innovator. But the person who turns away from the folds of Islam, he became not innovator, non-Muslim. He lost Islam. Okay? So this is the judgment, the general judgment that we judge Muslims based on. Okay? So when we say under the threat of wa'id means threat, okay? So if they are under the threat, that means they are under Allah's will, either to forgive or punish according to the sin. The ruling concerning them is like the ruling concerning the people who are under the threat of Allah's punishment, Ahlul Wa'id, except for those amongst them who are inwardly unbelievers. What he means by the last phrase, there are people who live with us and they practice like Muslims, but inside them they're not Muslims. We don't know. So we will treat them as Muslims. But Allah subhanahu knows about what is in their hearts. Okay? These people might be spies. These people might be agents for Western powers. So they come to us and they behave like Muslims. We don't know them. If we know, then we can take care of them. But if we don't know, treat them based on their occurrences, on their happenings, on what it appears from them. You know, in the time of Prophet ﷺ, there were people who look like Muslims. You know Abdullah ibn Ubay, the head of Munafiqeen? Do you know he did not miss a salah, a prayer behind Prophet ﷺ? Imagine, he did not miss a salah, a prayer, even Fajr. He used to go and pray behind the Prophet ﷺ. And he is the head of Munafiqeen. He is the chief Munafiq, the chief, imagine, hypocrite. Allah has told the Prophet ﷺ about them by name. And he took his secretary, Hudhayfa ibn al-Yaman. Do you know him? Hudhayfa ibn al-Yaman. He is one of the great Sahabas. He was the secretary of Prophet ﷺ regarding the hypocrites. He brought Hudhayfa ibn al-Yaman. He told him, hey Hudhayfa, should I tell you about the hypocrites by name? He said, oh Prophet of Allah, do you trust me? Yes, I trust you. Okay. Then he gave him all the names of the hypocrites. You know why he reveals their secret? He told Hudhayfa, if they want to have a position in the Islam, in the Islamic government, that is in the time of Abu Bakr, Umar and Uthman and Ali, tell them, hey, this is Munafiq. Don't put him in a position. After the death of Prophet ﷺ, when Umar ibn Khattab took the rule, he told Hudhayfa, Hudhayfa, I've heard that Prophet ﷺ gave you all the names of the hypocrites. Can you name them to me? He said, by Allah, I won't name any person to you. So he kept the Prophet ﷺ secret, right? He was loyal to the Prophet. Then he said to him, okay, don't reveal them. Tell me, am I among them? He didn't answer. He refused even to move his head. Then Umar Khattab swore by Allah, can you please tell me, am I among them only? Am I among them or not? He said no. Then Umar Khattab was very happy. Imagine, this is the highest level of Iman. When you don't feel at rest, don't feel at ease. If Umar Khattab, the third person in Islam, is afraid, what about us? Abu Bakr as-Siddiq said, I swear by Allah, if my right leg is in Jannah, already in Jannah, my left leg is still outside, I will not feel secure until all my body is in Jannah. Then Allah's promise that the people who enter Jannah, they will be safe. Allah says the people who enter Jannah, they will be safe. That's why Abu Bakr said, if part of my body is still outside Jannah, I will not feel secure. I will not feel safe. But for us, we are Muslims and we brag and we condemn others. We understand. We should always feel, humble. If you feel proud at one time, you should know that Iblis is controlling you. Don't feel proud. Always feel humble. Always accuse yourself of being lazy, not doing what Allah wants from us. Always. You know Umar Khattab what he said? He said, I swear by Allah, if Allah announces in the day of judgment that all humanity go to Jannah except one person, I will think of myself. Imagine Abu Bakr as-Siddiq doesn't feel secure. Umar Khattab doesn't also feel secure. Okay? So always keep this in mind. So, most of the 73 sects that Prophet ﷺ mentioned, they are normal Muslims, and they will be under Allah's will, either to punish or to forgive. If He punishes them, they will not dwell forever. They will dwell in hellfire until they are purified. Then after that they will be sent to Jannah by Allah's mercy. By Allah's mercy. Now we come to the pseudo groups. Okay, when we speak about pseudo groups, the untrue Muslims, they are not Muslims. Like the Shia of Iran. Okay? In reality, the madhab of Shia is not Islam. I cannot say, I read it, and really I found it very similar to Christians. Very similar to Christianity. In Christianity, they have saints, and they have their graves, and they go to prostrate in the graves, for the graves of their saints. The Shia do the same thing, you know? They do the same thing. Let me give you an example here. See, crawling. So they crawl toward the grave. They say, if I stand up, they say if we stand up, you know, if we move standing toward the grave, this is a sign of disrespect. So what they do, they crawl. And some people, you know, creep. And these people, Shaitan has, you know, let them strongly deviated. You know what he's doing? He's licking the passage toward the grave until blood is coming from his tongue. And they think they are still Muslims. You know, prostration. This head is only for Allah. Prostration is only for Allah. One of the Sahaba came from Roman, you know, from the Roman Empire, from Turkey or from where, from Syria and those areas, and he came to the Prophet ﷺ, "O Prophet of Allah, I visited the kings of Romans, the king of Romans, and I visited the kings of Persians, and I visited many kings. When they salute and greet their kings, they don't greet them normally; they bow. Don't we do the same thing for you? You are the best of humanity. Why don't we do the same thing to you?" He said, "By Allah, no. Allah has given them this world, and I choose the hereafter. So don't do it. I am only a slave of Allah. Innama ana abdullahi wa rasuluh. I'm only a slave of Allah and His messenger. So don't do that." So he didn't accept him, imagine. He didn't accept him doing the same thing. So prostration, bowing is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only. O capital, N capital, L capital, Y capital. Okay? Now look at this deviation. I'm sorry for giving you this, but anyway, we should give evidence, right? Look, licking the ground, desiring to have Al-Husayn's pleasure. Imagine, look at this. And he's feeling happy with it. Okay, the second group who are bowing, look, they are crawling from the gate, almost 500 meters. They walk just by crawling and creeping. And they're feeling happy, very happy when they do this. These are the pseudo groups which I'm talking about. Okay? And they don't only do this, but also they theorize, they give theories about it. Look at this, the merits of prostrating on the soil of Imam Husayn's grave. So they're very happy, and they theorize it. They make it as a theory. Do you think Imam Husayn is pleased with them? No, never. Do you think Imam Ali will be happy with them? No, never. These are the Saudu groups which I'm talking about. So when you prostrate for other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are leading yourself, you are guiding yourself to the Jahannam, to the hellfire, not to the safety. Okay, so this is what we mean by Saudu groups. And you know, this scratching their heads with the swords and sharp tools, this becomes now very normal ritual in Iran, Iraq, and some parts of Arabia and Pakistan, India. They scratch themselves until sometimes they lose conscience, they become unconscious. For what reason? Allah says, do not throw yourself to what? Yeah, no, tahluka means to danger. Don't throw yourself to danger. And then you say, I'm worshipping Allah. No. If you are in danger, don't worship Allah. For example, Allah told us to go and pray in the mosque, right? Okay. If there is firing, people are firing at each other and so on, and you're afraid, pray at home. Look at Islam, how is it? So don't go to the mosque because you will be under threat. Pray at home. Okay, if I am injured, don't make wudu in that part. See, stop it. If harm will be afflicted, then stop it. Stop that thing. That's why women in period, they don't pray, right? Because this is Allah's verdict. But these people, they punish themselves. For what reason? I don't know. They say we want to compensate our ancestors' mistake by leaving Al-Hussein alone. So they punish themselves. Okay? Okay, Allah doesn't make you guilty because of your father, right? وَلَا تَزِرُ وَازِرَةٌ وِزْرَ أُخْرَى. Allah will not make you responsible for your father's deeds. Finish. Period. And Allah will not make your father responsible for your deeds after giving you right advice and right discipline. Okay, so this is what we mean by Saudu Muslim sects. There are Muslim sects which philosophize the unity of Allah with creatures. They say, وَمَا الْكَلْبُ وَالْخِنْزِيرُ إِلَّا إِلَهُنَا. Dog and pigs are only our gods. Do you accept that? This is one group of Muslims who claim that they are Muslims. وَمَا اللَّهُ إِلَّا عَابِدٌ فِي كَنِيسَتِي. And Allah is only a worshipper in a church. Can you imagine that? These are people who claim that they are Muslims. There are Muslims who do not believe in Jannah and paradise and hellfire, like the Nusayris, the Bashar al-Assad sect. They don't believe in something Jannah, hellfire and paradise. They say our Jannah and hellfire is here in this world. And luckily, these people, they don't constitute more than the whole. In total, they don't constitute 10% of Muslims. Alhamdulillah, luckily. Like Qadianiyah, who believe that there is another prophet who appeared 150 years ago. Have you heard about him? No? Okay, let me give you from their sources, okay? Yeah, this is the prophet. This is the biggest sheikh. I have to answer, okay. Assalamu alaikum. الله يبارك فيك. بس عندي محاضرة، ممكن أتصلك بعد المحاضرة إن شاء الله. يلا السلام عليكم. This is the head of ulama of Yemen, the second head. Okay, anyway, so Mirza Ghulam Ahmad is a person who appeared while British colonizing India. And he claimed that he receives revelation. Okay? And he said that I am the seal prophet. Prophet ﷺ is the seal of messengers. I am the seal of prophets. You see how shaitan came to his mind? So Prophet ﷺ is the end, the head of messengers. He is the head of prophets, of Anbiya. And they interpret Quran this way. You know the ayah that says at the end of Surah Al-Baqarah, آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون. The Prophet and mu'mineen believed in what came down to them. He said, what came to them? What is that the Prophet should believe in? It's my prophethood. You see, these are pseudo-Muslims. So these are the groups which we judge as non-Muslims because of this deviation. Imagine when the Shia of Iran say that the Prophet ﷺ's job is only to inform us of the coming of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Imagine. So the Prophet ﷺ became inferior to Imam Ali? How come? That's why a person who believes in such things, we say he is pseudo-Muslim, he is no more Muslim. Imagine a group of Shia in Iran, the biggest group in Shia in Iran, the biggest group. They say, Jibreel, when he came down, he made a mistake. And instead of going to Ali, he went to Muhammad. Okay, if this mistake happened at one point of time, it shouldn't continue for 23 years, right? Why Jibreel kept making the same mistake every time while Imam Ali is there? Imagine such deviations. These things are not found, alhamdulillah, in the rest of Muslims, you know. The rest of Muslims, they differ in understanding the hadith, the ayah, in the way they refer to the sources. I'm not exonerating them. I'm not saying that they are free from the sin. They are sinful, but they will not be in hellfire forever. Okay? So these groups which I showed you now are the pseudo-Muslims that I'm telling you now. When somebody says to you, you are Allah. One of the people was knocking the door at his friend's house, and then his friend told him, who is knocking the door? He said, I am Allah. Imagine. A person saying that he is Allah, is still Muslim? So these are deviations. You know why they say this? They philosophize things. They say, because my entity has unified with Allah's entity because of strong iman. We became one entity. Yeah, this is philosophy. And that's why I told you in the beginning of these classes, philosophy is one of the major causes of many Muslims' deviation. They philosophize things. If your entity does not unify with Allah's entity, then your iman is weak, very weak. If you don't melt in Allah's entity, then your iman is weak. How come? Prophet ﷺ did not tell us that. Did not teach us this way. That's why we should always keep our iman intact and refrain from these pseudo-Muslim sects. Okay, so this group will be generally, they are considered what? Unbelievers. Then they will be treated like apostates, renegade. Apostates mean murtaddun. No more Muslims. Muslim who returned away from Islam, who became non-Muslim. Okay, murtad. This is the plural, okay? If you stop here, murtad. If you add murtaddun, plural. Remember Arabic language, okay? Okay, so murtaddun, renegades, okay? Or you can say they call them apostates, or you can call them in Arabic murtaddun, okay? But. Look at the word but. Very important, right? Okay, now, when we say that the sect in Iran is non-Muslim sect, what about the people who follow that sect? They are not scholars. They are normal people like us, right? Normal people. They have no knowledge. They grow up in such a sect, right? Ulama of Islam say these people are Muslims like us until they are educated. After they are educated and they insist on following the deviation, then okay, finish. We gave them, all we can. What we can is education. We educate them. We try to refute their misconceptions. And luckily nowadays, subhanallah, we have a lot of Muslims who refute, who answer back their misconceptions. In huge number of programs, channels, books. And I was one of them in one time. Okay? So through the education of Ahlus Sunnah, I became Sunnah. So similarly, the people in Iran and those areas. Okay? We judge them as Muslims, but we educate them. If they insist, we did our job. What remained is their job. They should make a comparison. They should study well. Okay? And let me give you glad tidings, alhamdulillah. So many people in Iran, Shia, returning to Sunnah. But they are murdered, punishment by the Iranian regime. Very severely. Okay? And they were Shia, but they became Sunni and now they are killed. Okay? And martyred. Time is not enough, otherwise I'll give you examples. But you can go to see the Ahwaz crisis. AHWAZ crisis. These Ahwazis, they were 90% Shia Rawafid, okay? But now 70% of the youth people became Sunnis. Subhanallah, they hide their iman, okay? They can't reveal it out. They have no mosque, imagine? No mosques. In a whole state, Al-Ahwaz is Arabic state, an Arab state, but occupied in 1920. Occupied by Iran in 1920. The whole world was busy with the First World War, and Iran snatched them. They were, normal people, very weak people. So if you read about Al-Ahwaz crisis, you can see them now. You can see how much they suffer. Okay, now, we know that there are people who run away from the fold of Sunnah. And this is whom we told that they are still Muslims, but deviated a little bit. How can we do with them? Okay. We should know that Salatul Jumu'ah and the 5 prayers, 5 obligatory prayers, are manifestations of sha'air of Islam. They are what? The witnesses of our Islam. Jumu'ah and the 5 prayers. Who said that? Prophet ﷺ, not me. He said that demarcation, the line between Islam and Kufr is Salah. It's not me, not my opinion. It's the Prophet ﷺ who said that. The line, the border between Islam and Kufr is Salah. That means Salah is the border, imagine. If you transgress the line, you go to Kufr, non-Islam. And he said in another hadith, between Muslim and non-Muslim is Salah. Abandoning Salah. Between a Muslim and non-Muslim is abandoning Salah. If the Muslim abandons Salah, he becomes non-Muslim. But we tell them, repent, okay? Repent, keep repenting. Because this repentance is the sign of their Islam. If they insist on not repenting, they will be in danger, in big danger. Salah is the most important thing. Umar al-Khattab said, I swear that the person who abandons salah has no share in Islam. Has no share in what? Islam. If I tell you you have no share in a company, that means zero share, right? Umar ibn Khattab says the person who abandons salah has no share in Islam. That means he's not in the company, he's not in the Islam. That's why salah is very important. Always, Sahaba, Tabi'een, they always, precaution from abandoning salah. Other sins, endurable. Allah may forgive, but salah, no. Salah, especially salah. So, praying behind the unknown person. Now, okay, if I, like nowadays, when you go to a surah or a mosque, you find somebody praying, right? And out of Islam, from the great signs of Islam, you just go behind him and pray. You don't know him, right? You don't know he is sinful or not. You don't know he is knowledgeable or not. You don't know. This is the Islamic behavior. This is the Sunni behavior. We have good intention in Muslims, so I pray behind him. But of course, if you have knowledge and you know that he can't read Al-Fatiha, you have knowledge, not only based on, just guessing. Okay? If you know that he can't read Al-Fatiha, it's better for you to pray alone. But if you don't know him, pray behind him. Okay? This is the Sunnah of Prophet ﷺ. So praying behind an unknown person, valid and correct. Don't have doubts. Number two, if you don't pray behind him, claiming that his true state is unknown, then this is what? Because Prophet ﷺ did not teach us that. Okay? One of the Sahaba said, our Prophet ﷺ told us to pray behind any Muslim. Either he is bar means very obedient, or fajr, very disobedient. Behind him. You don't know him, pray behind him. But if this disobedient person is a ruler, then we'll talk about it later. I will talk a few minutes after this. I don't know what time is it. Yeah, still. Okay, so now, public people, if I find a person whom I don't know about, I will pray behind him with no doubts. If I know that he cannot read Al-Fatiha, I will not pray behind him in loud salah, okay? But in secret salah, okay, it's okay. Okay? Is this clear now? That's why we said we must have good intention in Muslims. Even so do Muslim groups, we have to have good intention in the public Muslims, in the public people. Because they don't know. They are like us laymen. We have no knowledge, right? So why should I condemn them? They don't know. Until we educate them, after education, no more justification. But still, you may give them a justification that I couldn't teach them. I couldn't, make it clearer, okay? Now, praying behind the person who is innovator or wicked or impious. You know him. Now, he is not unknown, he is known. He is a people of innovation. He is a wicked person, very impolite person, and he is impious. You know him for sure. In this case, it's not permissible. Don't pray behind him. If you know he's a drunk, he drinks alcohol, and you know him, don't pray behind him. Because you have seen him, wicked. If he's an innovator, and innovation becomes, too much in his life, don't pray behind him. Okay? If it took place, if you do pray, your salah is valid. Your salah is what? Valid. And he will be sinful. Because he lit salah and while he is not worth it. Okay? The performer of such prayer will have sinned unless he intended by that to repel a greater evil. You come to area where innovator person is leading salah and he's the imam. Okay? and you know you are the strangers, you are the only stranger person inside that community. So in this case, don't make split in the community. Pray behind him. Why? Because you want to rebel a greater evil. You want to avoid greater what? Evil. What is the greater evil? People will not listen to you. Once you announce your stand from this imam, they respect this imam more than you. So you will lose them. How can you give them education? They will not listen to you. Okay? So it depends on the situation, depends on the case. If it is, because ulama said, if two evils occur, one evil is greater than another evil, avoiding the greater evil is better than avoiding the lesser evil, the lesser evil. So I will commit the lesser evil because I want to avoid the major evil, okay, the bigger evil. Okay, is that clear so far? Okay. Now, whoever is judged to have committed unbelief, then prayer behind him is not permissible. If ulama, if Majlis Aqam, if Majlis Agama, the ulama, the highest ulama of Malaysia, they all agreed, and you know, all agreed, consensus, that some sect is deviating, like Rafidah, okay? You're not allowed to pray behind a person who is condemned by these ulama. Why? Because these ulama are our reference. Okay? If they say this Rafidah and they have evidence and everything, fine. So if a person is accused of being Rafidah, we're not allowed to pray behind him or them. Why? Because it's already known and we have precautions. We have been given precautions by our ulama and scholars. Okay, now when you come to Al-Imamatul Kubra, this is a great topic. The leadership, biggest leadership, which is Sultan or King or Prime Minister or whatever. If the people choose someone, we have to be loyal to that person. Okay? If people of Malaysia choose someone, we have to be loyal to that person. Not to betray him, not to, to find mistakes after him. We try to support him. We try to be good. Based on Islam, right? If he does bad, we will not support him. If he does good, we support him. This is our stand. But we will not rebel, we will not be rebellious. We will not form, fighting groups and then we go to breach the security and safety of the community because of my understanding. No. I should suppress my understanding for the sake of uniting the community. And threats and dangers are around Muslim communities everywhere. So why should I increase that? I should be a unifying factor. According to the Islamic principles, Allah told us, do good, refrain from bad. So if he does good, I will support him. If he does bad, I will try to give advice. I'll try what? Give advice, send a letter. If he's your friend or his neighbor, you can give him, in a mild way, okay? But we should not tear the unity of the community. Sometimes the people who choose this king or this prime minister, not us, it's our scholars whom we trust. It's our educated people, okay? Then okay, I have to support. I shouldn't say, oh, they didn't ask me, so I wouldn't be loyal to him. Why? I didn't give him bay'ah, I didn't give him alliance. No. This is shaitan's way to our minds and hearts. If our people choose someone and he became the ruler, we should be loyal and obedient to him. Okay? But according to Islam, it is not permissible to revolt against a Muslim ruler except in cases where he manifests clear unbelief. If he told us, go and make prostration to Al-Hussein grave, this is clear unbelief, right? Clear disbelief. Sorry, we don't obey. Okay? If he says to you, Quran is not acceptable. Why do you believe in Quran? A sign of disbelief. Sorry. I didn't cause it, you caused it. Okay? So if clear evidence of kufr, fine. Denying the Sunnah of Prophet ﷺ, denying Quran, the clear thing, the most clear things, denying Allah's right, denying, any prohibited thing that is clear in Quran, like alcohol is haram, and he comes in media and say, well, alcohol is not haram. Who told you it's haram? This is a sign of what? Disbelief. So many signs of disbelief, okay? And which they are the very clear things. I'm just going through this because it's, it will take too long, and differences in these matters are too many. You see now Daesh, Al-Qaeda, they don't believe in this. What? I should be obedient to a ruler who commits some sins? No. But for Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, they say no. We should be obedient for the sake of the community. For the sake of what? Community. People being safe and free are better than being, under, arrest or under, insecurity. Now, perform prayer behind Muslim leaders who are tyrannical, okay? What should we do? Prophet ﷺ said, pray behind them. Pray behind them. One of the Sahaba, subhanAllah, Sahaba sometimes Allah gives them an insight to ask about things in the future. One of the Sahaba said, "O Prophet of Allah, imagine if the ruler is a tyrant and he doesn't pray on time, he delays salah for too long. What should I do?" Then Prophet ﷺ said to him, pray alone and go to the mosque and pray behind him. You pray alone because you didn't feel happy with praying behind him, right? But pray behind him to maintain the unity of the ummah. You see, Prophet ﷺ, this is the insight that Allah gave Sahaba. They ask questions sometimes which do not occur in their time. So it's obligatory to, under the Muslim leaders, even if they are tyrannical, we have to pray behind them, if they are the leaders. This is, in the time of the old Muslim, in the ancient Muslims, the leader is the Imam of Salah. But nowadays, our leaders do not, lead Salahs. They have other people. Okay, so I think it's time now. It's too long now. Yes. So inshallah we'll complete this matter 11, 12, 13, 14, inshallah, and 15 also. We'll finish them inshallah next week, inshallah. I think they told me that your class next week will be on Wednesday. No more Fridays. So do you have any question about the issues that we discussed today? Well, if it is a necessity, buy it. If it is not a necessity, why should you buy it? Okay? When you go to Tesco and you find dates from Iran and dates from Tunisia, dates from Yemen, dates from here and there, okay, make Iran the last choice. Okay? So necessity is the judgment here. Okay? Bye-bye. Bye-bye? Out. Okay? Because they know. Okay? But of course, our treatment to them, if they are peaceful, we become peaceful to them. Regarding the ulama of Shia, if they are peaceful, we become peaceful to them. Because we Sunnis, we Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah are peaceful. We are peaceful to the Christians and Jews if they are peaceful. So any person, in Iraq for example, let me give you example. You know, in Iraq nowadays, there is one Shia, one of the Imams, one of the Rafida. You know, he is Rafida, but still he is against the practices of the Shia government. And you know what happened? A war has happened between his group, his followers, and the government, the Shia government. And they killed from his group. And he himself ran away. You know what he said? Why should you kill Sunnis? Why should you kill Sunnis? With these people, we become peaceful with them. By the way, Allah says in the Quran, وَإِن جَنَحُوا لِلسَّلْمِ فَاجْنَحْ لَهَا. If they choose peace, do peace. We are peaceful, alhamdulillah. You know, if a peaceful person treats me peacefully, I'll be more peaceful to him. If he wants to threaten my peace and my security, I will fight back. I will defend myself. Okay? Does that answer your question? Terima kasih. You know, accepting my answer, it's a luck for me. You always say, I have two questions. I have two questions. I hope one day you'll have one question. Go on.
The first question is that you say that we should not test people, but
we should not
test
people. Okay, of course.
Okay, what if that we know that there's a person and he's from Iraq and Iraq is full of Shia, then he wants to marry.
Oh, this is another matter. Come on, yeah. Look, being precocious is something, right? And being good to people is another matter, right? So if I find my brother prays in my mosque, I will treat him as a normal Muslim. Then, if came to marry my daughter, I'm free. I may refuse. Why? Because I didn't know him, and my daughter is my precious jewel. How can I give my jewel to a person whom I don't know? Especially when he comes from Iraq or from Iran. Okay? How can I do that? I need a long steps of finding out or researching. Okay? In this case, no, you have to research. You have to test. In this case. Yeah, discussing is okay. Discussion is not a test. Look, opening a discussion is something. But what I mean by testing, spy on them. To find out. This is not accepted. But open discussion, okay, fine. Are you Shia or Sunnah? Yeah, I belong to Shia. Why do you say this? This is become now open discussion. By this, of course, they will not say yes. Nowadays, they will not say yes. Especially in countries like Malaysia, they will try to hide. Okay?
Recently, our government has approved that men can wear women's apparel.
Again, man can marry?
Wears women's apparel.
Oh, yeah. You mean a man can wear women's clothes? See, writing questions to the people who lead the country, this is one matter. Writing in the newspapers is another thing. You know, having discussions with these people is a third way. Pushing ulama to speak about it is another way. Asking people like who give lessons like today is a fifth thing. So you always keep educating people, okay? But the Prophet ﷺ has already answered this question. Prophet ﷺ has already answered this question. He said, لَعَنَ اللَّهُ الْمُتَشَبِّهِينَ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ بِالرِّجَالِ. May Allah curse the woman who wants to be similar to men. And may Allah curse men who wants to be similar to women. So this is a judgment by Prophet ﷺ. No need for answer. Just write the hadith and that's it. And Prophet ﷺ went further than this. He said, the person who assimilates a person, he will be gathered in the day of judgment with him together. So they will be resurrected in the day of judgment together. Al-mar'u ma'a man ahab. The person will be with whom he loves. So the person who loves ulama and prophets, scholars, he will be with them inshallah in the day of judgment. Person who loves the dancers, the film heroes and this and that, he will be resurrected with them. Okay? So those people who try to imitate girls and girls imitating boys, they are big deviators. But still they are in the fold of Islam, okay? Don't forget this. They are still in the fold of Islam. They deserve the advice from us. They deserve nasiha from us. Nasiha from me and you by words. But from the government, they should be what? Punished. They should be what? Punished. In the time of Umar al-Khattab radiallahu anh, there was a man, very handsome man, very handsome and very manly, well built and strong and so on. And he was very handsome. Umar al-Khattab asked him, please my son, can you leave Medina? Can you go to another place? Because women of Medina became infatuated by you. So he said, okay Umar al-Khattab, okay my lovely leader, I will leave. Then he left. So al-Khattab gave enough care for the community, right? He asked his sister. Another man, in the time of Umar, see Umar, a very strong person, was walking like ladies. Like nowadays, see some people who are like ladies. They walk like girls. Not any girl, girl who walk like this, they are impolite. If you walk with a broken way, it's impolite, right? Imagine if a man is doing that. So Al-Khattab told him, come here. Why don't you walk manly in a manly way? Oh, dear Khalifa, I cannot do it. Okay, give me a whip. Gave him 3 slashes. Then he walked very manly then, like in a very manly way. You know what he said to Umar? He used to pray in salah and say, oh Allah, give Umar rewards for disciplining me. So he disciplined him by few slashes, merciful slashes. So these people, they don't need, from us, oh my lovely dear, you like to be girl? Okay. You have social sickness. You are the sick one. You are more sick than him. Because you accepted such a thing. But we give them advice, government should put them into whipping, like Umar al-Khattab radiallahu anh. Okay? Does that answer your question? Alhamdulillah. Do you have any more questions? Okay, if you don't ask, then I love you. If you ask, I don't love you. وصلى الله وسلم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.